I just want to take you on a journey on the hacker side of things, on that attacker side of things, to show you how password cracking is actually done. I'm going to do a live demo throughout this whole presentation and follow along. Shoot out any questions, feel free to interrupt. Just let me know if there are any questions and we can take care of them right then and there. So hopefully you can see my one slide. This won't be a slide deck at all, but just a little bit about me. My name's Alexei. You can find me on Twitter as Scorov8. I am a professional Russian, which means you know I'm a real hacker. I've been doing hacking and offensive security work for over 10 years now, and in my spare time, I'm a co-founder and offensive director at Volkis. At Volkis, we do a lot of penetration testing stuff, offensive security, red team, social engineering, physical intrusion, anything breaking into systems or buildings. I'm also known as that dog guy, and you can see my beautiful fluff ball right there on the screen. So, enough of that, let's dive straight in. All right, what's going on here? So on the right side here, you can see a Windows machine, and this is going to be our victim's machine. In this scenario, we're kind of cheating and we're saying that we've just walked past someone's machine and saw that they have a my password file on their desktop. They weren't at their machine, so we just opened that and quickly took the password out. So we've got Brian Fontana's password. This is my hacker machine. We're going to be grabbing hashes from that in a second. And over here on the left, this is where we're going to be doing our password cracking. So first step, let's go and grab those hashes. I'm going to give us some more space here. So CME stands for Crack Map Exec. It's a hacker tool that's commonly used on internal penetration tests and stuff like that. SMB, we're saying we're interfacing with the SMB protocol here. Password over the octagon. And SAM. Here we're dumping these hashes from the SAM file. The SAM file is basically where Windows will store its password hashes. Not anyone can just get to it. You do need to be an admin of that server or that machine. But if you are, we get good stuff. All these hashes come running down the screen, very hackerish, very nice. So what's actually going on here? So first you see this part, which is the username, obviously. This part is the kind of user ID. Administrator is always 500. This first part here is called the LM hash. Now, LM hashes have been deprecated for a long time. They're not used anymore by any modern Windows systems. This hash, as you see it here, is actually the hash for an empty password, an empty string. It means nothing. The second part is the NTLM hash. This is still being used by Windows, even modern Windows, to store local credentials and domain credentials on the domain controller. This password here specifically starts with 31D blah, 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 is also an empty string. Now, on Windows 10 machines, the administrator account is actually disabled, so I can't log into that. It's kind of useless to us at this point. Same with guest, same with default account, same with this guy. These are all kind of built-in accounts, not that useful for us. But all of these accounts are, and we're going to start cracking these hashes shortly. So why does password cracking work? Well, as you heard in the previous talk, it's because users sometimes choose weak passwords, and us as attackers, we can generate what's called a word list, and we try that word list against against the password hash. So we'll take the first word in the word list and we'll go, let's compute the NTLM hash of that password and compare it against the ones we have here. If they match, that means that that's the password. A property of hashes are that it's a one-to-one relationship. The same plaintext should always give you the same hash, and only that hash. You have other vulnerabilities in certain hashing algorithms like MD5 and SHA-1. Why it's broken is because you have what are called collisions. That means that two different plaintexts will compute to the same hash. And that has a lot of implications when you're talking about certificates, private public key cryptography, stuff like that. But here we're just talking about NTLM. Now, NTLM even now is very old. It's probably about, I'd say 20, 25 years old. I don't know exactly. And it's based off of MD4, which is a broken hashing algorithm. What that means is, with today's computational power, we can try billions with a B of passwords per second. And we'll see why that's bad in a second. So I've already copied those password hashes over to my password cracking window. I've just taken the NTLM part because I don't really care about the LM part. It's not useful for us in this case. And you can see all that's in this file is the username and the password hash. We're going to be using Hashcat, which is a tool that a lot of hackers, attackers, password crackers use to be able to crack these hashes. Many different kinds of hashes that it supports. We're just going to be focusing on NTLM for today's example. So again, what Hashcat does is it's going to take in a word list and it's going to try and hash all of those potential passwords in the word list one after another and basically go, does that match? No. Does that match? No. Does that match? Yes. Cool. That's our password. And we'll also see a bit more advanced attacks using Hashcat as well. So quick demo as to how it works. We're going to fire up Hashcat. We're going to say M1000. That stands for mode. And 1000 is the ID for NTLM inside Hashcat. A is the attack mode. 0 means just a straight word list attack. Try all of the passwords in this word list. We're going to put username just because we've added the username into that file. If you just had the hash, you wouldn't need the username flag. And a few optimization flags for our purposes. Then the file the hashes are in, and the word list. You might have heard of RockU. RockU is a pretty popular password cracking word list. It's not too big. I think it has about 40 million passwords in it, something like that. And it's a collection of real-world password dumps. It's quite an old word list, but still something I use very often for just a quick fire. Can I get any of these passwords really quickly? Fire that off. And okay, lots of stuff happened here. So let's go back for a second. You can see that we cracked those passwords basically instantly, right? So we've got a password of password, because of course, and a password of anchorman. We can also hit S at any time to see the status of the password cracker of Hashcat at work. And you can see that the speed, this is always nice, is about 5.4 million hashes per second. That's actually really slow for NTLM hashes. That's just running on my laptop here. On my dedicated password cracking machine at home, I'm probably getting 1,000 times more than that. So seriously, between 3 to 5 billion passwords per second for every second. So you can think, any weak password is going to be broken just like that. We can also see that, how many passwords we've recovered. We have 2 of 6. The progress for the list we've given. And yeah, you can see that it's kind of trying these passwords at the point in time where I hit S. It's trying these potential passwords. But our results, which we can see when we go show, shows that Ron Burgundy is using the password, because of course he would be. And Brick's using the password of Anchorman. Okay, so those are pretty easy passwords, all lowercase, short words. Let's up the ante a little bit. What do humans normally use as passwords? Remember, we're always told you got to have one uppercase, at least one lowercase, a number, and a special character. So what are most people going to do? Well, they're going to uppercase the first letter of their password, because that's how English works. The first letter of the word is uppercase. Then they usually have a word, maybe a spouse's name, maybe their favorite footy team, a car, and then they have between 1 and 4 numbers generally. Maybe just a number, maybe it's a two-digit number representing a year, maybe it's a 4-digit number representing a year or a birth date or an anniversary or something like that, and then a special character at the end because, like I said, that's how English works. We have exclamation marks at the end. We have question marks at the end. So generally, humans are predictable that way. We choose things that are easy to remember. And because we, at least English speakers, we use this every day, that's what's comfortable to us. The unfortunate part is attackers know this. Attackers know that humans are predictable, and there's built-in functionality inside Hashcat in order to abuse that. So just to show you, I've created my own little word list for the demo, and it's just a collection of English words. That's it. I've pulled, I think, 450,000 English words, and I've uppercased the first letter of each of those words. So here's the first 50. You can see that they're just normal English words, nothing special. But when we use them with Hashcat, it's going to change our word list to English words. We're going to change our attack mode to attack mode 6, which means use the words in the word list, but also append something to the end, a mask. And the mask looks like this. So for example, question mark D tells Hashcat, hey, try all of the digits, try 2 digits after each of those words. So it'll go select the first word in that word list and try 00, no, 01, 02, 03, all the way up until it reaches 99, and then it'll iterate down to the next word in that word list and do the same thing. So what happens when we do that? Yep, we saw that we have cracked another password, this time capital M Mustang 72. This is, believe it or not, a very common real-world password. I, for some reason, see Mustang all the time. People like cars or horses. And again, we can show, and we can see that we've got Champ's password now. Moving forward, maybe they're using 4 digits instead of 2. So again, we say now we want 4 digits at the end of the password instead of 2. And this is going to take a little bit longer because now we need to basically multiply it by 10,000 instead of just 100. So it's going to go through the word list. But eventually, you see that it did actually find another password. And you know, if you're thinking you've seen this password before, it's probably because you have. Spring 2020, or generally month and year, or season and year, is an incredibly common choice for people to make. And why do you think that is? It's probably because of this whole password rotation business that people are forced to do. Every 90 days, by default, Windows tells you that you have to rotate your password. And every 90 days, what changes? Yeah, seasons, right? Using this exact password 2 weeks ago, I used as a foothold to get into an internal network on a pen test. Once I was inside that internal network, it was a snowball. So I got one password from the outside, then I got probably 100 more on the inside. I used one of those for admin access to somewhere, and it just snowballed, eventually resulting in domain admin access to that network, which was, you know, a fun result. It was a good result for that client, and yeah, they found out they had these issues, and I explained how to fix them. So, what if users are doing something different? What if they're not using this common pattern of uppercase and then numbers at the end and a special character? What if they're Leetifying their password? What if they're using Leet speak in their password? Leet speak is just when you take a normal word like this and substitute some of the letters for other characters that look similar. So for example, password like that would be Leet speak, or maybe maybe like that, right? Who knows? Unfortunately, again, attackers know this is a common thing that people do. And we can use what are called rules in Hashcat to manipulate the word list that we give it to be able to substitute these characters for common characters. So an I might be substituted for a number 1 or an exclamation mark, and we can try both. We can try all these permutations until we get the correct one. So how does that work? Let's change back to RockU for this one. And we're going to go back to attack mode 0 because we're just giving a word list. But this time we're going to say R for rules, and we're going to select one of the rules that comes with Hashcat called best 64, because apparently they're the best 64 rules. There are other rule files you can use. This is generally a good compromise between time and cracked passwords, so I like using it. So let's see what happens. Okay, we've got one to go, and there we go. So even though it's a word and it looks pretty messed up, it's still got cracked. Same with winter 2020. You know, this isn't a number, it's an exclamation mark, but still we managed to crack it pretty damn quickly, right? And now that's essentially game over. So all 6 passwords we've cracked. Well done. Just to prove to you that I'm not kind of messing around, this is all pretty legit. Let's copy that password, go back to crackmap exec. I'll throw the password in there. We're not going to do SAM. We just want to see if a login works. There's no E because, yeah, that's the limit for our Windows usernames. And you can see we get this green tick, green plus, which means that that's a valid login to kind of prove to you that it actually is. If I change the password and hit enter again, you know, login failed. There you go. That's how password cracking is done. So what can you do to protect against this? Well, a lot of the recommendations you heard in the previous talk are spot on. Using hashing algorithms with a work factor, like bcrypt, are considered modern good protections. It takes my password cracking attempt from 3 billion per second to probably about maybe 200,000 per second, which is significantly slower and makes my job as a hacker much harder, which is what you want. For users and for your own passwords, of course, use pass phrases. So as an industry, we don't really recommend using this mixed case digit upper character, special character thing. Studies have shown that they're hard for humans to remember and easy for computers to break. Now we're saying choose at least 4 random words from the dictionary. They must be random. They can't be like, I love ramen a lot, because, you know, they have meaning to each other. But something like, you know, horse, engine, battery, staple, true. If you're a fan of XKDC, you'll know that one. Makes a pretty good passphrase. Even if the attacker knows you're using this technique, it's still significantly more secure. It's significantly harder to crack than, let's say, an 8-character password with all these mixed special characters in it. Perfectly fine for all those words to be lowercase. If you want to throw a space in between, yeah, passwords can have spaces. And make that your one password. You don't need to reuse that password. You shouldn't reuse that password. Instead, use a password manager like KeyPass, LastPass, just to name a few. and have that passphrase as your master password. Every other password you use can just be completely random 28 character password, right? Gonna have a really hard time cracking that one. The last recommendation for protecting credentials is multi-factor authentication. If these accounts used MFA, even if I had the passwords, I still wouldn't be able to access them because, I need that second factor. I need a token, or I need a fingerprint or a YubiKey or whatever that second factor is. So, hit me up. The final thing that I'm going to do, just run a quick script. Hit me up on Twitter, email, questions now. Thanks.
We did have some questions.
Yep.
So it may have been more towards Robert's talk, but during the talk, Adam, the Cogmeister himself, was asking how much advantage does ECC provide? I assume he means RAM. So that's the first thing that comes to mind.
How much advantage to password cracking?
Yeah.
RAM does play a part in password cracking, actually, and it depends on how large your word list is. So the larger your word list, the more RAM it requires, and the faster the RAM, the better. Most of the grunt work done for password cracking is from the GPU. So because GPUs have thousands of cores rather than your CPU having, maybe 8, the GPU is doing most of the work. So GPU memory comes into play, and also just your RAM and your machine affects the speed significantly.
Yeah, so William Liebenberg asked as well, can we use GPU acceleration in Hashcat? But it sounds like
yes,
you definitely can, and that's
Absolutely.
The reason why I can't get a 3070 or 3080 at all.
That's right.
Nothing to do with games.
And crypto miners.
Yeah.
Fire up those GPUs.
And what about using emojis in password?
Absolutely. Hopefully the platform supports it, but definitely try it. I actually recommend using a lot of non-English words if you speak another language as a password. So take that passphrase recommendation one step further and throw in emojis between the words, or do the passphrase in Russian or in, Mandarin or whatever you speak.
Definitely mix it up.
Yeah.
Random's great. It reminded me of, we're still getting screen share, I hope. This great XKCD. I'll just zoom in.
Yeah.
The cybersecurity final exams. Welcome to your final exam. The exam's now over. I'm afraid you've all failed. Your grades have been stored on the department server. Be submitted tomorrow. Class dismissed.
I've done. I probably won't name and shame, but I've done cybersecurity exams where they get you to scan your palm on entry, and I go, when are you going to delete that? And they go, oh, this is just what I'm told to do. And I'm like, yeah, great. There was a joke website a while ago that someone made that basically you type in your password into this website to see if your password's been compromised or not. And regardless of what you type in, it will always say, now it's been compromised, because you've typed it into that website. So probably don't type in your actual password, but
no. So if we do this, if you go to Have I Been Pwned, and we'll bring up the network stuff, because we can see the traffic going back and forth.
Yep.
And we can type in the super secret P@SSW0RD capital.
Yep.
Trust me, that's what I typed in. There's a little... Okay, so I did type in that. We have to make it extra secure, so I'll put in 123. Hunter 2. And we click pwned, and you can see it sent a piece of traffic and got some stuff back, but the piece of traffic it sent, it was just 5 characters. Now, my understanding is it's the last or the first 5 characters in a SHA of the password.
Yep.
And then it returns some...
a little bit.
Colon delimited result set, and then it finds the full SHA in this list. So it's actually, but it's been seen 18 times before. So what did you say?
There you go.
What was the one in the talk? Spring 2020?
Yep. Capital S, Spring 2020.
Let's see. Spring 2020.
Yeah, Troy does good stuff. This is a pretty damn good
4
website.
times before.
There you go. Surprised it's not more.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen it more than 4 times.
Well, it's spring's finished, so that password's expired by now.
Try 2019.
2019. I shall try it. This is fun.
That's 2019.
56 times. I think we should wrap this up on a good note. So yeah, use a password manager.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
Password manager. There's a nice, neat website. How strong is my password? Something like that. And this uses just client-side checks, so don't actually enter your own password
because it's
just
not
for
secure.
Good practice. But you can kind of see as you type password would be cracked immediately. If I mash the keyboard, that is a long time.
Is that Italian?
I don't know.
Quattro decimillion.
There you go. Pretty sure the universe will be frozen over before that password's cracked. However, that is on modern computational power, so in another 10 years, who knows?
Cool. Well, thank you, Alexei.
Thank
you. This is Matt from SWTV signing off. I hope everyone has a great month, and we'll see you next month. Good night.
Peace.